Welcome to my video. My name is Riley and this is my January 2021 book wrap up, and I'm super excited to be doing this because this is the first month since I think November that I feel like I'm reading and I'm enjoying myself. Previously, I feel like I was in a big book rut, but now I feel like I am excited to read again, and I've read really good books throughout the month. I only read 5 books, but for me, last month I only read 2, I think, so I didn't even do a wrap up. I'll mention them in this video, but it felt good for the first time in a long time. So I'm going to first get into December 2020s really quick. I read Hardcore 24 by Janet Evanovich. It's one of the Stephanie Plum novels. I think I rated it a 4, and then I also read Tomorrow Will Be Different by Sarah McBride. I also rated it a 4, and it was nonfiction, and I really enjoyed it. Nonfictions are a little bit harder to get into. So now I'm going to get into my January reads, and if you saw my 2021 reading goals video, you might know that I am reading things a little differently this year. I am using Goodreads still because it's just an easy way to keep track of everything, and it's on my phone. It's just easy. But I'm also using Storygraph and the CallPile Excel or Google Doc spreadsheet, and I'm really actually enjoying the spreadsheet the most, but I do like Storygraph. I'll put visuals up as I'm talking about them, but the spreadsheet has been great because it really does give stats on everything, but I'm going to use that more as like my yearly breakdown, and then Storygraph as my monthly. So getting into it, the first book I finished this month was Verity by Colleen Hoover, and you probably have heard of this because it is huge. It's such a polarizing book. People really seem to love it or hate it, and this was a romantic thriller. I would say it was more of a thriller than romance. I rated it a 4-star, and it actually got the highest rating out of the CallPile system this month. They were actually all 4s this month, which is weird, but this had the highest rating, and I really did enjoy this. It is on Kindle Unlimited, so it was very accessible, and it's a book that I had wanted to read for a long time. I actually put it on hold through my library, and I was super far down on the list. So this story is actually about a woman named Lowen who was called in to finish writing a series of books for a woman who had been in a car accident, a woman named Verity. And in the process of doing that, Lowen finds a manuscript of basically an autobiography of Verity's life, and finds out a lot of unsavory things about Verity. And then it kind of rolls out from there, and I don't want to talk too much about it because that's where the spoilers are, but basically she finds out that Verity is not a great person, and there's also some blossoming attraction between Lowen and Verity's husband. You'll have to read it if you are interested, but I thought it was good. I think it was unbelievable. It's obviously not something that would happen in real life, although who knows with the world we live in today, and I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. It had me on the edge of my seat, but it wasn't scary at all. The next book I finished this month was Lock Every Door by Riley Sager, and this is one I actually bought on a Kindle sale months back, but I never really read it because I was not in the mood for thrillers. It's actually the second highest book I read this year. I actually have my laptop down here that I'm just referencing. So another 4-star, like I said, they're all 4 stars. I loved this, especially compared to Home Before Dark. I thought Home Before Dark was a little bit, I mean, it's hard to say. Lock Every Door was a little less believable, but Home Before Dark was like more cheesy. I didn't love it. So Lock Every Door is basically about a woman whose name I don't remember, but she responds to an apartment sitting ad. She's really down on her luck, and she takes the opportunity and she starts experiencing sinister things, and the other apartment sitters in the building also notice these things too, and then they start putting things together and figuring out kind of what's going on. And it was, I've heard a lot of people say things like, I figured out what was going on by the 50% mark, but it's like, I don't even know how you figured that out, but like, it's a thriller. There's a twist, of course. So if you don't like hearing that, I'm sorry, but like, it's a thriller, so, you know. But I thought it was so good. I love this book. I actually am shocked that Verity was rated higher. I thought this would be rated higher with the CallPile system, but love this. Super happy I finally read it, and I'm now excited to read some of his other books because Home Before Dark made me not want to read Lock Every Door. The next book I finished is 1922 by Stephen King, and I am so happy to finally have finished this. I was reading this book for a month, and okay. So this one got a 4, but a very low 4. It's right on the cusp of a 3. So I actually would rate it more of a 3 myself without the call pile system, but I think that the characters kind of brought it back up a little. 1922 is a horror book. Originally it was a short story in a book of short stories called Full Dark No Stars, and then it was published, I think, around when a movie came out on like Hulu or something, I don't even know what network, but it was published in its own short story format. And this is about a woman and his son, and they kill his wife because they don't want to sell land. And then basically there are things that follow that are super scary, and this horror was not the type of horror that I like. I thought it was, you know, classic Stephen King, over descriptive, not my favorite writing. It could have been like a 50-page story. I didn't need to know every time the sheriff like wiped his head, moved his revolver, shifted. There was a lot of like body horror, I guess, and like animal harm. I don't know. The whole thing just like was not for me. I didn't think it was a bad story though. I liked this story. So I really gave it, in my mind, like a 3. It was okay, but it just wasn't what I thought it would be or what I was looking for. And maybe I should have looked further into that, but I was really excited to read it, and that's what happened. The next book is When No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole, and it's the only one I have a physical copy of. This book I got because I was on a camping trip with my husband and he wanted to use my Kindle, so I needed something to read. And this is a book that, again, I had put on hold through my library, and I was like number 27. I basically knew I wasn't going to wait that long anyway, but also I wasn't like beating down doors to read this book, but I did hear it was good, so I was excited to read it and to pick it up. And this is about a woman named Sydney and the gentrification that goes on in her neighborhood, and basically it's like a worst case scenario version of that. It is labeled as a thriller. Again, 4 stars. I really liked this one, but I'd say like 50% of it is like just a story of gentrification, and then it kind of starts getting more intense and things start happening. A few things happen here and there to Sydney and her love interest Theo, and they are spooky. They're like, definitely, they made me a little uncomfortable reading. Just like the things that were going on were really creepy and spooky, and I didn't like that. And then like the last 25% of the book, I don't know what happened. It just went like sharp left. Like I knew what was kind of going on, but I didn't expect, and I'm going to put a spoiler thing, but I don't think it's a spoiler. I didn't expect Sydney and Theo to go full on badass murdering spree. That was just, you know, not what I was expecting, but I really enjoyed this. I liked this a lot. I know Alyssa Cole writes romance, and I'm excited to pick up some of those just based off the writing on this. And also, this book is just like perfectly floppy. It was just so easy, comfortable to read. I really like that. And the last book is a total different genre than the rest, and it's A Lesson in Blackmail by K.D. Robichaux. And this is a short story. It is romance, but I really think it's like erotica. There was a little bit of a plot, but not a strong plot. And this I also gave 4 stars. I really liked this. This was very sexy. And this was actually recommended on Jen the Book Refuge's channel. She is a great resource if you like romance, but you've read all of the popular or contemporary selections. So if you go to her channel, you can kind of see that she recommends lesser known, or if you like this, you might like this. She just has a ton of great recommendations for all things romance. So I love her channel. I found out about this book from her and I heard about it, and she described it and it sounded interesting. It is basically about a librarian and her student, and granted, they are only 4 years apart and he is a consenting adult, but a librarian and her student, and they start a BDSM relationship. and she kind of pointed out some things that were interesting to me, which was the older woman is the sub and the younger man who is inexperienced is the dom, and I thought that was an interesting take. That's something you don't see super often in erotica, and I just thought it had a good premise. I rated it a 4-star. I really enjoyed it. It was super cheesy at times and obviously unrealistic, which, like, look, it's like romance or even a thriller, like it's a book. It doesn't have to be super realistic. But some of the things that I don't want to spoil because it's a short book anyway, it just was a little cheesy and unrealistic, and I didn't know how I felt. But overall, really enjoyed it. All the books this month, A+, love them, so happy I read them. I can't wait to start next month. I'm not really sure what I'm going to read next month. I'll probably put up a TBR. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please subscribe. I would love to have you here. Have a great day. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.